Hi guys, and in today's video, I'm going to show you everything you need to know about character creation in NGS. Hi guys, and welcome back to another video for Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis. In today's video, this is going to be aimed at people who are just starting out in the game, and what we're going to cover is the character creation process. So when you first start NGS, obviously you'll need to make a character at the beginning. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go through the process of making a new character, what you need to look out for, and just some information that new players might not know when they're making a new character. So first of all, how would you actually make one? When you first log on to NGS, you'll have a list of all your different characters, and what you'll have is a list of different character slots. I believe you have, I think it's up to 3 character slots you can make for free. So for those, just pick one of the slots, and that'll take you into the character creation. Once you've made 3 characters, if you try making a 4th one, you will actually need to pay some Arx cash to be able to unlock that character slot. So you can see I've got more than 3 characters. So if I want to make a new character, what I do is I would go to this create new character. And when I go on this, it says AC payment required. It says you must have a character creation permit to create additional characters. So I've got enough AC to cover this now. But if you are making a new character and you already have at least 3, it will cost you 500 Arx cash to make a new character slot. So, and you can create up to 30 characters in total. Is there any need to make 30? Not really. You can get by with 1 character in NGS realistically, because you can use every class on a single character. But you have the option to make up to 30 characters if you want to. So, for the purpose of this video, we'll create a new character slot. So the first thing that comes up is this. So I'll ask you if you want to display cel shading options. So NGS has a built-in function that allows you to apply cel shading effect. As far as I'm aware, it applies to your character and possibly other people's characters. It doesn't affect any of the backgrounds or anything like that though, so it's more or less just the characters. For me, I'm just going to say no change for now. So next thing you do is, so we've got a few base characters you can choose from. So these are essentially like template characters. So you can see, you can just load these, and there's loads of different options. You know, we've got casts, we've got female casts, you know, we've got female newcomers, there's male characters and so on. So these are essentially like base templates you can use if you want to. It's entirely up to you which one you pick, because the reality is that you're going to change it drastically anyway. So if I started with what is basically the Hue New World, you then have an option at the bottom, so you can either go skip character creation. This will just basically make your character the template. So if you're not bothered about character creation and you just want to use a default character, you can do that. I don't know why anyone would in this game, but the option is there if you want to. Next up, you've got either go to simple creation or go to detailed creation. So simple creation is a much watered down version that only gives you very limited options of what you can change. I would, for anyone playing, I would recommend just going with detailed creation. So this will bring you to this screen here, and this is where you can start to actually create a character. So a few things on the controls. So I'm using a gamepad for this, but you can use a keyboard and mouse. So left analog stick up and down moves the camera up and down, and left and right rotates the character. Right analog stick rotates the camera view. So you can actually rotate the camera and the character separately. Additionally, if you use a PlayStation controller, it would be the square button, so X on an Xbox controller. If you press that, it will zoom the camera in various stages. So you can zoom into there. While you're in this stage as well, what you can do is you can still move the camera around. And what you can do is if you hold the right trigger and then use the analog stick, you can actually move the camera up and down that way as well. You can also do it with the left stick as well. It's just that in some of the dialogue boxes, the left stick will be locked out, so you won't be able to use it. So typically, I just tend to hold right trigger and then do the right analog stick. And again, if you press the square button again, you'll zoom back out to the default. Next up, if you press the left bumper, you can remove your character's hair. The benefits of doing this is mainly for when you're working on the face of the character. So when you're working on the face of the character, particularly when you're adjusting things like where the facial features are on the face, you don't want the facial features to be too far up or down the face. So by removing the hair, you can get a better look at the overall head shape, so you can get an idea of where to place the features. Another reason is because some hairstyles will cover quite a lot of things. So some hairstyles, for example, will cover the ears. Some will cover the eyes or the eyebrows. So by removing the hair, you've got a good look at the face so you can see everything clearly. And you just press left bumper again to put the hair back on. Next up is if you do the right bumper, this will remove the clothing levels in different stages. So the first option is it will show you everything equipped. If you press it once, what this does is you won't have seen anything here, but if the character has an outer piece of equipment, it would remove the outer. So at the minute she's only wearing base gear. I'll be able to show you that a bit later on. If you press it again, it'll remove the base gear. So now you're just showing the inner. If you press it again, it goes back to default. So again, this is mainly used so when you're adjusting the actual proportions of the body. This is quite useful so you can actually see what the character's body looks like without the clothes, so you can adjust it more accurately. That's a basic rundown of how the control options work. We've also got at the top right of the screen, there is a little height gauge as well. This seems to work in centimeters, so this character's 163 centimeters at the moment. But you can see that if I remove the clothes, she drops to 162 because the boots give her a little bit of extra height. The next up, what we'll do is we'll go into the actual process of creating. So in the editing menu on the left-hand side, we've got a few different options. We've got edit head, edit body, edit fashion, edit miscellaneous, miscellaneous tests, and creation data management. So first of all, going to edit head. And you can see we've got a lot of options. Yeah. One of the best things about PSO2 and NGS is that the character creation process is incredibly in-depth. There's a ton of stuff that you can do. You can essentially make whatever you want. So the first thing you go into is sample selection. So this has some base faces. What these are is, if you remember the base characters that we saw earlier, this is the faces for them all. So by changing this, you can change to different faces. And yes, you can make some absolute abominations, like having a male head on a female body. It's pretty cursed. So we'll go through and eventually we'll come to the default one that we had there. So that's all those are. It's just in case you want to change the base face. So next up, we'll go into face. And what I've got here, first of all, is a face option selection. So this is split into two versions. So these faces at the top here, the ones with the sort of whitey grey background, these are NGS spec faces. The ones with the darker background are original PSO2 spec, so they generally don't look as good. If you're making a character for NGS, I'd recommend trying to stick to the NGS parts if you can. But you can see by going through some of these. So we've currently got this base face T2. So T1 and T2 is what the game refers to as male and female. So males are type 1 and females are type 2. So you can look, if we change the face here, you can see we can change to different defaults. Now, your character will probably look very, very cursed. Like, they'll probably look like an alien when you first change the face. And the reason is because each face has different sliders that work best for it. So at the moment, it's just using the default slider for this face. So it looks fine on this face. But as soon as you change it to another face, it'll look really like oddly proportioned, and that's because you'll need to adjust it if you change the face. But you can see we can change the default face around. We can go with one with a mask built in. See, they all look pretty horrendous to begin with. If I do change it to a PSO2 spec face, you can see it just doesn't look good generally. So I would try and avoid the PSO2 spec faces personally. So for now, we'll stick with... Let's have a look. We'll go with the snipped face. Just so I can show you how to sort of fix a character. So the next thing is we've got adjust face shape. And what we've got is we've got this square grid and there's 4 points on it. What you do basically is you can do it with a controller. So with a controller, you press X to actually access it. And then what you do is you use the D-pad to choose which points you're actually focusing on. So you can see that the point that's highlighted is changing there. And then if I press X on that point, I'll adjust just that point. You can see this adjusts the face shape. You can also use keyboard and mouse, so you can just literally drag it around as well. This is for the overall face structure. So you can see we can fill out the cheeks. We can make them a lot more slimline. You can extend or retract the jaw as well. So for this video, I'm not going to worry too much about how it looks overall. I just want something that looks passable. So I think that's not too bad. There is also, just next to the grid, be careful not to hit this accidentally, there is a little dice icon, and this randomizes the face. So if you're not sure what you want to go for, you can just select this and randomize it. Next up, we've got face shape. So again, if we just drag this around, this moves the actual part of the face around the face. So face shape is for the actual jawline and the cheeks, whereas face shape is more for where the eyes and the nose and the mouth sit on the face. So for us, typically I want the eyes roughly lined up with the top of the ears roughly. Around there maybe. And then I want the eyes a little bit closer together because that looks horrendous. So we just want to drag these in a little bit just so they're a bit closer together. Maybe around there. And again, you can randomize this if you want to. If you do make a mistake and you want to go back, if you press the select button, you can actually undo the last action as well. And I think the start button or options or whatever it's called on PlayStation now, that will redo the previous or reverse the previous undo. That's that. And what you'll see is everything you change, the option will go yellow. So you can see face is now written in yellow, and that's because we've made a change to it. So you can quickly see at a glance what you've changed and what you haven't. So next thing is hairstyles, but we'll come back to that. Because what I want to do next is I want to change the eyes. So first of all, we have different styles of eyes. So at character creation, this is where I need to mention this. So when you first create a character, you will have very limited options in the creator of what you can choose. So you can see here, we've only got 5 different eye options. There are more, but these are grayed out because these are PSO2 spec eyes. So you can only use these if you use a PSO2 spec face. These are the NGS spec eyes. So because we're using an NGS face, we can only use the NGS eyes. But you can see this is basically the pupils and the irises that you're changing. So I'll go with that one for now. You can change the eye color, and also there's a few tick boxes here, so you can actually sync or unsync the eyes and the eye colors. So what this does, if I unsync the left and right eyes, I can then choose a different eye style for the other eye. You can see that it looks different in each eye. I want those synced though, because I think it looks better for this character at the moment. For the iris colors, what this allows you to do is if you unsync it, you can change the eye colors individually, so you can have heterochromia. For the colors as well, you've got a basic palette of colors here. So if we pick that green, you can also then go down to this grid, select it, and then move it around and fine tune it. So don't feel like you're stuck to that basic palette of colors. You can choose more or less what you want. Let's go something like that for now, just to show you how the heterochromia works. You can also adjust the eye size. So a little tip with these sliders, any parts that have these sliders, if you hold X and then press the D-pad, you can move it in larger increments. So without it, you just move it like this. But if I hold X and press it, it moves in like jumps. And you can see it's basically making the actual irises bigger. You can also adjust the horizontal position of the eyes, so that is where they actually sit. And this is hilarious because it means you can make your character looking in different directions. So yeah, we'll leave that centered. So that's the eyes. Next up, we've got eye detail. So this is one of the easiest things to mess up, I find. This allows you to change the shape of the eyes. So again, it's one of these click and drag parts. So what you can do is you can grab hold of the eyes and you can basically adjust how the eye shape is. This might take some fine tuning to get it because you can mess it up quite easily. You can say just by taking a bit of time, you can get something that looks a little bit better. So go with that, for example. I think what I want to do as well is I think I actually want to bring the eyes a little bit closer together. So again, we've got the face shape and we're just bringing it slightly closer together. So probably about there. Next up, we've got eyebrows and eyelashes. These are pretty self-explanatory. Again, it's split into NGS and PSO2 spec. So just remember that if you are using an NGS spec face, you will only be able to use the NGS spec eyebrows. You can say it just changes the shape of the eyebrows. Fairly self-explanatory. Again, you can change the colour. You can also tick this box to sync the eyebrow colour with your hair colour. This will mean that if you change the hair colour, your eyebrow colour will automatically change as well. You can adjust the thickness of the eyebrows, which you can see it when you take the thickness out. You can make them pretty much transparent. It's probably about there. And you can adjust the horizontal position as well. You might not be able to see that very well in the video, but you can move the eyebrows around slightly. Next up is the lashes, and again, it's split into PSO2 and NGS spec. So when you first create a character, you will have quite limited options of what you can pick. As you play the character more and more, you'll get tickets for various things like eyebrows, eyelashes, hairstyles, and as you unlock those tickets, you can add them to your character and then they'll appear in the list. This isn't a one-time thing making your character if you are new to the game, so once you've made your character, you can then adjust it at any time in the game salon. So again, we can sync the eyelashes with the hair colour as well. Next, we've got the nose. Now, I actually don't think the nose is too bad on this at the moment, but you can adjust the nose size and the nose length here. But I'm quite happy with that for now. Next is the mouth. So again, you can adjust the mouth size constraint. So you can make the lips more full. You can make the actual mouth bigger or smaller. And again, you can randomize this. You can adjust the vertical position on the face, so where it actually sits on the face. And you can adjust the vertical position of each side of the mouth. This is so if you want your character to look like they're sneering, or if they're grinning, you can make them do that. So if we, for example, raise the right side of the mouth, at the moment both sides are raising because this sync option's on. So if you want your character's default expression to be them smiling, you can do that. Similarly, if you want them to frown, you can do that as well. You can also unsync it, and then you can pull up one side of the mouth to make them sort of smirking. So next, we'll go back into the hairstyle. So in hairstyle, we've got, first of all, the actual style itself. And again, we've got a few options. Now with these, you can use the PSO2 spec hairs if you want to. What you'll notice is that they do look quite low res and they just don't really look that good. So again, if you like the hairstyle, by all means use it. But for me, I personally think that the NGS spec hairs look a lot better. Just the amount of detail in them is a lot higher. And again, you won't have that many options to begin with. You'll unlock a lot more later on. You can see we've got plenty of different hairstyles. Now, some of these hairstyles, what you realise is they'll have two colours. That's because some of them have highlight colours that you can adjust. There is also a slider here that allows you to adjust the hairstyle. So a lot of hairstyles will have parts of the hair that you can adjust the length of. So if I adjust this slider, you can see that the fringe part at the front, you can make longer or shorter. This is what I mean about the character creation in NGS. It's so in-depth, it's ridiculous. So we can, make that a little bit longer. We can then adjust the colour. So main colour, again, just adjust it as you want to. And as usual, again, you've got this fine-tuned slider, so you can adjust it as you want to. So I'll go with that for now. And then for colour 2, you might not be able to see it very well on this hair because I think this hair might be a single colour hair. If I switch this over to a different hairstyle, though, like the one we started with, you can see that so our colour 1 is the main hairstyle colour, and then our colour 2 is that little flash of hair at the front. And if we change that, we can change the colour of it. So there are a lot of hairstyles that have multiple colours. But for now, we'll just go back to the hair that we had. You can also sync hair colors 1 and 2 as well. This is mainly so if you're using a hairstyle that has multiple colors and you just want it all to blend together, you can just sync them up rather than trying to match the colors manually. So next up, we've got teeth and tongue. So yes, you can adjust the teeth of your character. You get this horrible, horrible expression while you're doing it so you can see it. And to begin with, all you'll have is common teeth and wonderful teeth, which is like fangs. I guess if you wanted more of like a bestial or vampire character, you could go that route. You can also adjust the tongue of the character, and this is how the tongue sits at its default. So by adjusting it, you can actually have the tongue protrude. So you can have your default character expression with their tongue out if you want to. You can also adjust where the tongue sits horizontally, so you can have it to the sides. Why this is in the game is beyond me. I know why it's in the game, but yeah. You can also have it protrude up or down as well. So if you're an absolute degenerate, you can do that. But now we'll put the tongue away. Next up, you've got ears or horns. So first of all, ears. So I've got a few options. Again, so you can see here that this hair is kind of hiding the ears a bit. So if we press left bumper, if we come out that menu and press it, we can get rid of the hair. So we can see it easier. So we've got human ears, we've got Newman ears that are slightly pointed. Or we've got long Newman ears. We've got Newman ears with rings in them. We've also got cast headset, so if you're making a cast, you can go with that one as well. So for us, we'll stick with the Newman. You can adjust the ear shape, so again, it's another one of these sliders. And by adjusting it, you can change how the ears sit on the head. So see, this way it sort of widens the ears or slims them down. And just where they go, so you can have ridiculously long ears if you want to. Obviously, for the human ears, you wouldn't be able to get them this long. I can shorten them down. I probably want somewhere in between, so probably maybe about there or so. You can also move this up and down as well to adjust sort of how far they stick out of the head as well. So I'll go with that for now. And then what I'll do is I will then put the hair back on just to see how it sits. So it's not too bad. What you will notice, unfortunately, is that a lot of the hairs will actually flip with the ears a little bit, particularly on Newman's. It's just something you have to put up with, really. Next up, we have horns. So if you want to, you can have your character with horns. This is, I guess, if you want to make like a human character. So you've got a single horn or a double horn. And again, you can adjust the size of these, so you can adjust how big they are. You can adjust where they sit on the head, things like that. So for me, I'm going to get rid of them because I don't really want the horns on this character. But it's an option there if you want to use it. Next up, we have makeup and face paint. So this, again, you'll unlock more as you go through the game. This just gives you a few little options to add a little bit extra to your character's face. So you can do things like having barcodes on your face. You can have like a mouth guard. Tattoos. You can do things like having blush on your character as well. Might not be very obvious at the minute, but if I ramp the opacity up, you can see it gives like a blush effect. So I think these can look really, really good if you're quite subtle with them. So we will go with the blush, but what we'll do is we'll reduce it a bit just so it's very slight. You can have up to 2 face paint options. You can also adjust the neck as well. So if you want to adjust the character's neck thickness or anything, you can. And again, it's just one of these sliders. So again, just by doing it, you can have a big thick neck if you want to, or you can have a pencil neck, whichever you want. So yeah, probably about there. You can also adjust the neck angle, which is really strange. So by adjusting this, you can basically adjust where their neck sits at default. So you can have your character... I can understand doing that one because you can make your character sort of look proud or like arrogant. But you can have the neck like really far forward as well. And it just looks odd. Maybe if you have a slight angle on it, it might look okay, but I think generally I'd just go with the default. That's the face, so congratulations, you've now completed your character's face. Now you've got the body. And body works more or less the same way as the face. So again, it's split into different sections. You've got an easy edit here. So again, you can choose the base body here if you want to. And then what you can choose is you've got 4 sliders here, 4 options. And what you can do is you can adjust kind of what you want the character to look like at each axis of its body. So if you want the top of the body to look thin, you can do that. And then maybe you want shapely bottom half. Yeah, let's just go with that. And then by adjusting this bit in the middle, you can actually adjust the basic sort of proportion of the body overall. You can see it, I can lengthen the midpoint of the body. I can adjust the distribution so that like the shoulders are bigger, or that the legs have more to them. This is just an overall, so what you'll do is you'll adjust this at a base and then you'll adjust it fine-tune later on. So I'll just go with that for now. You can also adjust the height here as well. So you can see by adjusting this, the meter in the top right goes up. So you can go up to, well, yeah, up to 203, which is huge. So yeah, probably got about maybe 172 or so. So next up, we've got body type selection. This is where you choose the base for your body. So what this does is it allows you to like quick reset a lot of different options. So you can set it to humanoid type 1, which will turn it into a male. So this will give you like a male default body style. Or you can go humanoid type 2, which will put it back to female. Or you can go cast type 1 or cast type 2. And again, this is just default parts that you can then adjust later. Next up, we've got physique and chest. So physique, this allows you to adjust how the body is proportioned. So again, by adjusting it, what you'll see is, so you can actually adjust the height through this as well. But by adjusting this part here, you can adjust sort of how big the shoulders are. You can bring the hips out. There is quite a lot you can do with it. I think you can also adjust the back as well, like the rake of the back. So yeah, we'll just go with that for now. Then you can adjust, because of course you can adjust the chest. And this is self-explanatory. I'm not going to go too much into this, but basically, yeah. I think that's enough on that. So next we're going to shoulders, arms and hands. So you can adjust the shoulder size again here. It seems like there's multiple ways to adjust the shoulders for some reason. You can adjust where the shoulders sit vertically. So this is what if you want sort of slumped shoulders. You can adjust the arms. And again, this is things like arm length, arm thickness. So you can have your character absolutely jacked if you want. You can also adjust how thick the forearms are. So if you want massive forearms, you can have them. And you can adjust the hands. You can also adjust the hand thickness, which seems really odd. I've never really thought in a game, oh, I really want a hand thickness slider. But it's there. Next up, we've got waist and legs. So waist, again, you'd say we're just adjusting the waist now. So you can have like more of like an hourglass figure. Or you can split it out more. It's entirely up to you. I'll just go with that for now. What you will notice as well is if you adjust it, you can adjust like sort of how the back curves as well. But next up, we've got the legs. And again, exactly the same as all the other options. This just allows you to adjust how the legs are in proportion to the rest of the body. So what I've done there is I've made the legs really, really short. So it looks like you're stretching the body, but what you're actually doing is shortening the legs. And so yeah, I'll go about there. And again, you can adjust the thickness of the legs as well. You can also adjust things individually, like you can adjust the thighs, the calves. So you can adjust the thighs to be really thin, or you can have thick thighs. You can adjust the calves. And again, if you're struggling to see what it's doing, again, if you press the right bumper a few times, you can go to your character's base body, and you can adjust it more accurately, and you can see it a lot easier. You can see exactly what we're doing. You can adjust the foot size. You can also adjust this waistcloth width. So what this is there are some clothing items that, it's particularly for outers, that when they sit on your character, they will go over your waist. And what this allows you to do is adjust the width of the waistcloth so that it sits on your character's waist better. I won't be able to show it with these outfits. And to be honest, it has very little effect overall, but it's there if you need it. Next up, we've got skin. So again, you can choose the skin. You can switch to these if you want to, but if you do this, it will switch you to a T1 because you are switching to a male body. You can adjust the skin color. Again, you can see you can have absolute incredible Hulk. Or She-Hulk, I guess, in this case. And again, there's a huge palette of different skin colors. The palette of colors is different for skin, so it's more constrained, but then you can adjust it more accurately as well. So if I go with, I want a kind of like tanned color. So if I go with like that and then lighten that off. Looks a bit more sunburned at the minute, to be honest. Yeah, maybe something like that, yeah. You can adjust the gloss of the skin. So you can literally have your character looking like they've just smeared themselves in Vaseline. Or you can have no gloss at all, or somewhere in between. You can also adjust the muscularity. So again, you probably need to remove the outer for this to be able to see what you're doing. So again, if we adjust that, what you'll see is, particularly on the sort of the abs, you'll notice it. So if you go in, you can see now that the character's got like defined abs. Or you can get rid of that if you want in something more smooth. So again, entirely up to you. Next up is body paint. So body paint, it's a quite confusing name, so a lot of it isn't actually paint. When you start, you'll have next to no options. You essentially only have kind of, I mean, this does kind of look like paint or tattoos, but body paint also covers options. Like you can see here, we've got things like thigh highs. Again, it's split into PSO2 and NGS spec, but things like thigh highs, gloves, those kind of things. Also things like beauty marks, they'll also fall into body paint as well. But essentially any markings on the body, but it also covers things like thigh highs for some reason. So we'll just remove that for now. And again, you can have two of these. You can also adjust the layering of them. So if you want one body paint on top of another one, you can adjust how the layering works. That's that done. Next up, fashion. So first thing is layering wear. Now for layering wear, the way the game works is there are several types of clothing items. So there are inners, which is essentially the character's underwear. You have bases, which are clothes that go over the inner. You have outers, which are clothes that go over the base. And you also have set, which is an entire set. So at the moment, you can see here, we've only got the base options. So all of these, what you'll notice is at the end of the item name, so this item's called Alaya Quartz. At the end of it, it says SE, and SE means set. So with this, there is, although we are wearing an inner, what the set does is it replaces the base and outer. If we had an item that was a base, we would be able to adjust it here. So we do actually have one here, actually. So we've got Clark Unifer, which you can see at the end of the name says BA. So this is a base. So if we change that outfit, and then go to outerwear selection, at the moment we don't actually have anything, but if we had any outers, we could then put an outerwear over this outfit. Whereas we wouldn't be able to put it over the other outfit that we had, because that's a set. So again, you can adjust the color. So we can adjust this part. And you can also adjust the secondary color. All outfits have two colors that you can adjust usually. So yeah, that looks fine. And then, as I say, you can adjust the inner. Now, obviously, you can't see it at the moment. So again, press the right bumper to remove the outer part so you can see the inner. And you can see then we can change it to like different options. And again, you won't have many to begin with, but you will unlock more later on. So, as with everything else, you can adjust the color of the inner. So, and then right bumper to put the outfit back on. Next up is cast parts. So this is if you were going to make a cast character, you would go into here, and this is where you would adjust what parts you want to use. So for example, the casts, the way it works is you have a body part, an arm part, and a leg part. So as soon as you put one part on, it'll automatically put other cast parts on, because you can't have cast parts mixed with clothes. Again, we'll change the arms, change the legs, and you can see it works kind of the same. And much like clothes, you can adjust the main colour and everything as well. Casts also have 3 sub-colours. So this is just to show you quickly, so you can see, just so you can see how the sub-colours work. So you can see there, by having 4 different colours, you can colour a lot of different parts of the outfit. If we go then back to layer and wear, you can see we can go straight back to this outfit. Now, unfortunately, it does reset what you've done, so you do need to sort of recolor everything. So, again, I'm not going to spend any time on this. I'm just going to put some base colors in. There we go. Next up is outfit. So, outfit, these are generally outfits from original PSO2. So, a lot of the old PSO2 outfits don't have the layering wear system. So, if you have any of those old outfits, this is where you'd adjust those. Next, we have ornament displays. So, this... a lot of these are grayed out because a lot of these parts I'm using don't have ornaments. But ornaments are like extra adornments that are on outfits or hairstyles that you can hide or unhide. So for this, you can see we've actually got an option to hide leg part ornaments. So leg part is referring to casts. So if I go back to the cast parts again. So what you see now is we've got hide body parts, hide arm part ornaments, or hide leg part ornaments. So if we go hide arm part ornaments, for example, you can see it takes off those shoulder parts. Same for the legs. We can take off those little booster parts on the side. Which I've just realised now actually looks really similar to Gundam Barbatos. And not because I've just built it. I've just built a model of it, so... yeah, interesting. And then for the body part, we can get rid of the little part around the hips. So that's how the ornament system works. It's not just for cast parts, though. It does apply to clothes and hairstyles as well. So again, we'll just switch back. I'm not going to adjust the colour too much, so that'll do. Next, we have accessories. So these are additional things you can add to your character just to give them a bit more personality. So again, you'll unlock more as you play through the game. But it covers things like hats. You can get things like cat ears, headsets. You can also cover things like... so there is masks, glasses. Now for accessories, you can use the old PSO2 gear. Again, PSO2 spec stuff. It might not look as good, but generally you can get away with it for the accessories. There's things like waist thrusters. And that's more or less all we've got at the moment. But let's say, for example, that we want to use this little headset here, this antenna. You can then go into the advanced settings. You can adjust the colours of it. Now, it doesn't give you a full colour option, so you have to choose based on colours of other things you're using. So let's go with... we want it to kind of match with our jacket, so let's go with the base colour of the same of the jacket. And then the second colour, we'll go with... let's go with red for that as well. Just so it matches a bit better. What you can then do is, this is where the true endgame starts. You can then basically adjust several different options for each accessory. So you can, I'm just going to show this very quickly, but you can adjust where it sits on the head, so the actual position of it, in 3 different axes. You can adjust the rotation of it, so you can rotate it around your head. You can also adjust the sizes as well, so you can adjust how large the accessory is as well. And you can also sync the sizes and adjust all 3 at once. So that's very in-depth. The only thing you need to pay attention to with accessories is this cost here. So you have a total of 18 points of accessories that you can use. And each accessory costs a different amount of points, which is shown by this number here. So again, if we've got to change this, you can see on each item, there is a number at the bottom left. and that number is the number of points that that accessory uses. So, for example, if we use this hat here, it will cost 4 points. And essentially, as long as you keep that number under 18, you're fine. Next, we have stickers. So stickers are just a little, as the name suggests, a sticker that goes on your character. Not all outfits will have the sticker. I don't think this one does, actually. But some outfits will have a visible sticker on them. And basically by adjusting this, you'll be able to adjust what the sticker looks like. And again, there's more you can unlock later. So finally, we're going to the miscellaneous. So first one is the voice. So your character obviously has a voice. You can press the left bumper while you're in this screen. Instead of removing your hair, the left bumper in this screen will actually play a sample voice. And you've got plenty of different voices here you can choose from. All the ones with the blue N are NGS spec. For voice, though, it doesn't matter. You can just choose whatever you want to. And by pressing it on a voice, you can also play that one. You can also have no voice if you want to. And again, there are a lot of tickets you can unlock as well to add more voices, so you can get voices of the story characters, for example. Let's try and find a voice that we're actually happy with. Once you've got a voice that you don't mind the sound of, you can then adjust the pitch of it, so you can have it really low, or you can have it really high. And there's several different steps for this. They literally sound like a chipmunk if you want to. Yeah, that sounds fine. You can also apply a voice effect. Now, this is only for NGS spec voices, but you can apply a sort of synthetic effect to your voice. So if I play this normally, if I then apply the effect to it, I'll put it on the most so you can hear it. You might be able to hear it, but it's like, it has a kind of sort of raspy, sort of almost like metallic noise to it. As opposed to... So that's I suppose if you want to make a cast character, you can apply a sort of robotic element to the voice. So it's quite a cool thing, that. Next up is your motions. So each character has several different motions. And again, you can get tickets to change these. So the first one is your idle. And your idle is how your character stands when you're not inputting a direction. So you can see it just adjusts like how your character stands, basically. Now, at the moment, we've only got these that are very, very similar to each other. There are a lot more options later on, so you can get some quite interesting ones. So you can get ones where you float, cross your arms, do JoJo poses. There's quite a few, but when you first make your character, you'll only have a few options. Then you've got move. So this is when your character is running but not sprinting. You can see it in hover. Then we've got jumping. How your character lands. Dashing, which at the minute you'll only have the standard one. But this is when your character sprints. Glide, which is when they do a double jump and glide. And the swimming. And again, you'll unlock more of these as you play through. There's the option for Cel Shading there if you want to turn it back on. So next up, there's a few tests you can do. So you can do expressions tests. So you can choose the different options and see what the character looks like when they're doing these expressions. So smiling, angry. So you can adjust that just so you can see if you're happy with how your character looks when they're doing different expressions. There's also motion tests as well, so you can see what a character looks like doing different motions. So what they're like walking, what they're like doing a pose. Just to give you an idea of how your character will look in the game. After you've made your character as well, what you'll also be able to do is what's called a field test, which is where you can basically load a background from the game. So you can load one of the cities from the game and see what your character looks like in different lighting conditions and so on. When you first make your character, though, you won't be able to. I think it so it doesn't spoil the cities. And finally, you've got this creation data management. So what this allows you to do is save the data for your character. So if I do this and then just put a name in, that for example, what that would mean then is if I then close the game, came back in another time, I can then just go into load creation data and I can load this character from that data. So what I'll do is I'll totally change the character. Just so you can see how this works. So there we go. So if I then decide, oh, I don't like this, I want to reload what I had, I can go into creation data management, load creation data, and press on this, and it'll automatically load that for me. You can also do the same for face data as well. Once you've done that, you can review the changes, and this will basically show you everything that you've changed. What you can also do as well is you can, any of these boxes that you untick, you can undo that individual change. So if I want to undo the eye size change, I can do that, for example. Once you're done, hit confirm. And then the last thing you'll do, well, second last thing you'll do is choose your class. So for some reason, NGS, when you start making your character, you can only choose from 6 classes. So you can choose from either Hunter, Fighter, Gunner, Ranger, Force, or Tector. It says that once you've progressed enough in the main story, you'll unlock Braver, Bouncer, Waker, and Slayer. I kind of feel like they should just change it and just let you start as whatever you want to now, but just be aware of that when you first make a character, you will have to just pick one of these characters. As soon as you get to the city, you can change. So you pick your character, for example, and then you choose your name. Once you've entered that, you'll go into the game, and if it's your first character, you'll start out with a tutorial. For future characters, you actually have an option to just skip the tutorial and start from the main city. So that's like a basic rundown of how character creation works in NGS. What I'll do now is I'll switch over to one of my other characters and I'll show you how you add more options to your character. So we've got our different character here, and this one's obviously already been created and has already got a lot of different hairstyles and outfits and everything. So as you could see when we made the character, there was a lot of options that were missing. So there wasn't many options for hairstyles, there wasn't many options for eyes, things like that. The reason is because you unlock a lot of those through the game. The way you unlock those is several different ways. So one option is if you go into the shop menu and go into play scratch tickets. So this is one of the main ways you get a lot of the new items. So there's a few ways of doing it. So for example, you have a SG scratch. So SG is a currency that you earn through a few different ways in the game. I do have a video on how to earn SG on the channel, so go and check that if you want to see that. So what you can see is if we pull our daily free SG ticket, so you get 1 pull free a day. At the time of recording, there is a 10 a day campaign as well. And you see there we've got a Sealess T2 outfit. So when you get to this screen here, so it'll show you what you've got. Now, this is obviously a T2, so it's a female outfit. Outfits won't always have T2 written in them. The main reason if they have T2 is if there is an outfit of the same name for T1, it'll specify T1 or T2 usually. But you can see it's a BA, so it's a base outfit, which means we can put an outer over it. And what it says is, it says use status bound to account. So the way these tickets work, what I will do is I'll pull on the 10 a day and I'll see if I get anything new, and I can show you this. Okay, so we haven't got anything brand new, but if you get an item that is brand new, what it'll say is next to the use status, it will say unused. If you then use that ticket, it will unlock that item for that character only. If you use a second ticket, it will unlock it for all of your account. So what you can see is for this playful tongue here, it says bound to another character. That means I've used this ticket on one other character, but only one character has it unlocked. If I then use this, it says registered playful tongue to all characters. So now all of them can use it. Again, same for this Sandstorm backpack bound to this character. So if this is bound to this character, I can then use it again and it'll bind it to all my characters. And the same for this outfit, this outer as well. Another thing you need to bear in mind with these outfits is some of them are male only, some are female only. So for this one, this Operati Universe, if you look underneath, it says Humanoid Type 1, so it's a male outfit. I can still use it though. One, because it'll unlock for all my characters now because I'd already used it once. But also because if I want to then change this character to a male body type, I can do that and then just use the male stuff I've got. So the other way of getting it is through the Arcs Cash scratch. So you can see at the moment, for example, we've got this Black Lagoon scratch. So if you go into the prize list, you can see there's a list of all the items here. And for example, we've got Revy's clothes base. So you can preview it. And you can see this is one way of getting different items. You can also get things like the hairstyles. So for example, Revy's hair. So this is how you unlock new stuff for your character. If I very quickly just go into the salon. So every main city has a salon that you can adjust things in. A lot of stuff you'll be able to adjust for free. And at the moment, you have to do anything for free with this campaign that's running. But in normal gameplay, when the campaigns are not running, there are certain things that you'll need, either salon free passes or colour change passes to change. But what you'll see is when we go into this character now, if we go into fashion, layering wear, we have a ton of options. And this is because this character's unlocked a lot of tickets. So you can see we've got various different outfits. So you can see there's plenty of different ones. So now I can show you this outer system. So this base that we're using here, this Hikami no Kagetsu. If we then go to outerwear, we can then put an outer over it. So you can see that that jacket now just sits over the outer. So it sits over the base. Again, if we use this outer, all of these are designed to sit over the bases. So that's kind of how it works overall. So I hope that's been relatively useful. I know it's been quite a long video, but I wanted to do like an in-depth video on the character creation, just for anyone who's starting out with the game and might be struggling with it a bit, because it can be quite overwhelming with how much there is. If you've got any questions or anything, just leave them in the comments below and I will try and answer what I can. But for the meantime, I'll end this one there. If you've enjoyed the video, please consider liking or subscribing. It really does help the channel out a lot. And you can also follow me on Twitter it's at Section Skyline. For the meantime, I'll end this one there. And I'll see you guys in the next video.